4 days ago, we showed up with a timber frame on the back of our truck, raised the timber frame, covered it with gypsum, and then installed SIPs all the way around the walls and on the roof.
We actually had these panels delivered to our shop. It gave us time to take each individual panel, pre-drill holes for the screws, pre-drill holes where we're going to inject foam at the seams and install the splines. Here we build them together in basically as large a panel as we can comfortably swing. And that also allows us to detail a lot of the seams on the ground. So the larger the panel section we're building, the more of the surface is done before it even goes up. So that's what we're doing here, just injecting foam where we can, filling the holes with screws, and then swinging it up and screwing it to the building.
So the first thing we do is install the timber frame, and then the gypsum gets hung onto the timber frame, and then the SIP package is installed on top of the gypsum. And the screws go through the SIP package into the timber frame, down to this shoe, which is attached to the cap, which is attached to the foundation. The SIPs are nailed off to the shoe and attached to the timber frame. And those are the steps to our installation process.
Oh yeah, okay. It's racing. Every single hit bringing us closer. Starting to move.
Got another inch to go up top.
All right, good?
Nice, that was great. Ethan's a busy guy on the job site. He really keeps us on track, and little issues that he sees that we're able to correct, rearrange, fix, move so that we're not going back 5 steps.
On the job site, there's a few different things to juggle there. One is moving the project forward and working on the task at hand, but also in the back of my mind, I'm always looking toward the next step.
What do you think, Ethan?
It's gonna come over quite a bit.
We try to minimize any unforeseen issues that could cause kind of like a ripple effect later on in the process. And our crew was great about really paying attention to that as well, but that's always something that I keep in the back of my mind.
Bring our measuring tape in, Rusty, or not? I'm gonna borrow that if you wouldn't mind. So right now I am just cutting out the drywall, cutting out the windows, going around and getting that prepped so that way Rusty and Zach can come back and finish screwing off the drywall, and then we can advance to then finishing the SIPs on the outside.
We're just working on finishing up some of the drywall sequence here. So now we're just going through, we're buttoning up everything down low, and then we're cutting out window openings and stuff like that. And then we're just doing our nailing pattern for the inside to secure the drywall to the SIPs.
What I've just been doing is going around and finishing up any pegging that wasn't done when we first did the frame. Just a few more left.
So after we install the SIPs, we go through and foam where the SIP meets the shoe, because there's a little gap there and expanding foam fills it. And then we foam the seams where the sections that we swung up with the crane connect. because there's a chase there, so we fill it with expanding foam. And then we also purposefully design and have these manufactured so that there's a gap at the end of each wall section so that we can use expanding foam to fill it, because if you just butt foam and foam up against each other, it isn't airtight.
We had a great day, brought all of the wall panels in, and they were all set by 2 p.m. At that point, we decided to head back to the shop and bring up the roof panels. These roof panels are 28 feet long, so the panel company sent them to us in a 24-foot length, the longest manufactured length, and then a roughly 4-foot long piece. We've been attaching those together and setting them as one unit. So the fitment up on the roof is interesting, a little bit challenging just because of the length. That's a lot of lineal feet of spline to get aligned and so on, but so far so good, it's going very well. You guys probably want to bring a broom or I don't know if a blower would.
Blower's not working. This thing's working really well. I only need it for a few more minutes.
Sure. But Ethan, can you continue to help us too?
Yep, definitely.
So we're on day 4 of the timber frame raising. We had a great day yesterday. We set almost a quarter of the roof panels. We need to not only install all of the roof panels, but we then need to foam all of the seams, let that cure, and then the underlayment can be installed. So we've got a good bit to do still today, but I think we're going to be able to do it comfortably, and it is a gorgeous day in February in Maine.
What I'm doing in particular here is just trying to make the guys on the roof's life a little easier. Setting the anchors so that all I have to do is screw them in. Foaming splits between panels. What Gabe and Rusty are doing is putting bucking on and chicken boards. The bucking is so the panels connect to each other a little easier. The chicken boards are so that you've got a footing on the bottom of your roof to hold on to. So that's kind of what we're doing down on the ground.
goal was to get the panels on the roof to basically enclose the structure and then get the roof fully foamed. The foaming is a really time-consuming procedure to do well. And then, of course, the foam needs to cure, and it cures at different rates depending on the ambient temperature and relative humidity of the air. Today it's actually above freezing, and it's a relatively high relative humidity, so we had that working for us. The foam cured a little more quickly, but all that stuff takes time. It's the end of day 4 and we are thrilled and exhausted. The timber frame turned out beautifully. The SIPs went on very well. We couldn't be happier with the product we're leaving behind for our customer. Another interesting feature of this project is that there is a shed-style covered entry that goes on the lake side of the building. And then we have this end, which is the welcoming entrance into the building. To sort of bring the timber frame out, we built 2 king post trusses, and again, to minimize their exposure on the job site, we pre-assembled those. They are together back at the shop. We're waiting for the general contractor to build those exterior platforms, decks basically on the front and the back, and then we'll come back in with the exterior timbers and set those in place.